Hello, and welcome to episode 167 of the Pos-cast with Rabbi Shmuel Posner, myself, Seth Hellman. Rabbi, how are we doing today?
Oh, Baruch Hashem, we're good. Yeah, we're good. We're good. We're good. We're good. We're good. We're good. So we're in the month of Tammuz. We had Gimel Tammuz last week. We have Yud Beis Tammuz was on this past Shabbos, and then Thursday is a fast day. Is Shavasar Tammuz. So the beginning of the month, well, Gimel Tammuz was the day that the previous Rebbe got out of jail into exile. Yud Beis Tammuz when he got freed completely. So by Chabad, the first part of Tammuz was very upbeat. Then Gimel Tammuz came. That's a bit of a, with our Rebbe, that was a bit of a challenge, but sort of like a lot of positive energy in the month of Tammuz, even though Shiva Asar Tammuz starts at 3 weeks of mourning. And fascinatingly, the number Shiva Asar is 17, and 17 is the same numerical value as the word Toiv, which is good. So how could it be good if all that stuff is happening? And what's the answer? The answer is that everything is for good. The Rambam says, and that's what the Rebbe always quotes the Rambam. The Rambam says that when Mashiach will come, the fast days are going to be a time of rejoicing. So think about it as like when you're building a building and you look at a building under construction. It's like, what a mess this is. But no, if you wait patiently, you're going to see this is actually the inner structure of a beautiful building that people can live in. But it takes time. So once you see the beautiful building, you don't think about the ugly, the cement and metal beams and all that kind of stuff. So that's similar. Golas time is like, doesn't look nice, but it's really, it's a time working towards Mashiach. And then these days of mourning, we turn to times of joy. Okay, get it? Do the Goyim hate the Jews or not?
It's an interesting question. As a generality, I'd say no.
So let's think about this on a few different levels. Last week's parsha, we had Bilam who's coming to curse the Jews, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he's like a prophet of Hashem, and I can only say what Hashem wants me to say, and he tries his hardest to curse the Jews. And then he gives them advice how to get the Jews to sin with the Midianite women, and he just wants to find. He basically hated the Jews. How else can you look at it? Yeah, it's amazing that from his mouth, Hashem sent out the prophecy about Mashiach coming. That was, everything he said turned to a blessing. The last thing he said was all these prophecies about Mashiach. But what did he want? He wanted to curse the Jews. He wasn't, I can hardly say that. And then he gives advice how to get the Jews to sin. Nasty guy. So we're in Newbury Street, right, on Sunday. And like a couple of people said, people always come by and ask, because there's a lot of tourists around nowadays, obviously, right? Because it's summertime and because of the soccer mishigas that's going around. It's like there's like a family from Israel. It's like, why are you guys in Boston? They came to watch two soccer games, one between France and some other country. Like, you're Israeli. What do you care? Oh man, it's so ridiculous. Then this mother came last week from Baltimore with her son. Like they were totally from people. The reason they came to us because the kid forgot to bring his tefillin.
Huh.
So he came over to daven, like did a serious davening. Then he came the next day again to wrap tefillin, and he was going back home after that. And I said, "Who won the game yesterday?" He said, "It was tie. What was the score? 0-0." I said, "So boring." He said, "No, it was a great game. Like, if the point of a game is to win, 0-0, I don't know.
You
It's
know
not
what
exactly exciting to me."
the saying we had growing up was that a tie is like kissing your sister.
Oi, that's terrible. We can't say that on the Pos-cast. Well, it's not bad to kiss your sister.
No, but it's like it's not great either.
Right, right. There's nothing to it. Oh, anyway.
Exactly.
But the point is, you're watching these plays happening, but the really good play is to score a goal. Of course, you have the maneuvering from one end of the field to the other end, and getting around this person, getting around that person. I got it. It's like, yeah, it's a great it's great sportsmanship you're watching. But like the real talent is when you score a goal. You didn't score a goal. You didn't accomplish it. And we know this in Torah is for sure like that. It's like Hamaisa Huwa Iker. The main thing is the deed. So you can have the greatest thoughts and the greatest speeches and all that kind of stuff. The guy didn't go out and do a mitzvah. You didn't accomplish. You didn't accomplish what you needed to accomplish. The bottom line is you got to do it. So we have, we're in Newbury St, we have great, or any time you're talking to Jews about Torah mitzvahs, and we had a great conversation, but did he put on film? No, like, bah, bah. Versus, we had this Mishigas. So this guy Yakir, right, who used to be selling cosmetics back in the day, now he doesn't do that anymore. Anyway, he doesn't stand. So he how they stand on the street and they meet people and they give him a sample. And they try to get him into basically to buy more stuff. So we have this routine, and he started. And it's the funniest thing. We'll stop somebody and we talk to him. People will stand and talk for 10 minutes, and like, I'm in a rush. I have no time to put on tefillin. And then we'll just have this conversation, and then 3 minutes in the conversation, like, you could have put on tefillin twice by now. Like, I know, but I'm in a rush. I would say this. The guy stopped by. I said, it'll take 2 minutes to put on tefillin. He said, no, I have to go. And then Yakir stops, and you know what? For you, we'll do the 30-second version. 30 seconds. And so many people fall for it. Now, I say fall for it, meaning that you can't do anything in 30 seconds. And by the time you start putting on film, they relax. I never saw a guy like, oh my God, come on, you have to hurry up. Nobody's rushing. You're on Newbury Street. Where are you going? Nobody's going anywhere. So you going to the baseball game? What's the rush? Oh, my wife is waiting for me. Well, she's waiting for you, so she'll wait another half a minute, or you call her and tell her you're coming. Like, it's not like you're waiting. It's not an emergency. So that's my go-to. If you're on Newbury Street, you're not in a rush. Anyway, it's funny how he has this thing like, okay, for you, we got the 30-second version. And some reason people do it. But that's the point. The point is you want to get people to do the mitzvah. It's just to talk about, it's a great conversation. Anyway, well, why do we get talking about why action is more important than the thing? Why do we get off on these tangents and I forget what I'm talking about?
I don't know,
Anyway,
man. I just sit here and let you talk. You're the one who talks yourself in circles.
listen to me. So we're there in Newbury Street, and people come over and like, something like, how's it going? Anti-Semitism. We say there's no anti-Semitism. I actually say this once, maybe 2 months, someone says something. About a half an hour later, this crazy guy comes over. He wasn't standing in our face, a little bit off to the side, like, I'd say 5-10 feet away. But he's like screaming like this complete nonsense. And, he looked like he was off. You're not the real Jews. The blacks are the real Jews. And then he said some kind of nasty stuff that Jews do. And like, oh man, he's like screaming. But he's loud. You're the. And while he's doing all this crazy shouting about complete nonsense, from the other side, there's a restaurant nearby in the outdoors, and this woman gets up and says also something about, you're killing babies. I didn't even hear exactly what she said. I just turned, like, just instinctively, like, what is she? And looked, and she like turned away. I'm like, I know, and she had like an accent. I think she made, some kind of, I don't know what her accent was. Like, what is going on here? Like, as if that this guy was sitting and shouting this nonsense about Jews, the real Jews are the blacks. And like, we're just there. We don't have Israeli flags. There's nothing there to trigger anybody. We have to fill in. Like, there's no excuse why just because we're so he was screaming out because we're Jewish. He didn't know nothing about Israel. Just screaming, we're not the real Jews and we kill babies. That was his problem. And then this other woman gets up and she said something. It was like one thing she screamed out. I'm like, what? What is going on here? What is wrong with people? And then this other guy came by later on, an older man. You Jewish? he's not Jewish. And he said he's not Jewish. And we had this very calm conversation. Because I like the Jews, but I don't like what Israel's doing. Like, what is Israel doing? Like, of course, it's Newbury Street, and there's no time for a long conversation. That people are, especially if people are not Jewish, they just stop by, they want to keep on going. And I don't want to talk to them much either. I have nothing to say to them. I mean, we have the 7 Noachide laws things, but if you want to just have a conversation, don't hack my chainik. Anyway, so he says, what's going on in Israel? What's going on? I said, so what are you talking about? Like, what do you read? You don't read enough. All Israel is doing is protecting themselves. Like, I don't know where you're getting your information from. Off he went. Goodbye. So this is the question: and then other people come by, like, yes, we're not Jewish. We love the Jews. We support you. They're happy what you're doing. So I'm just thinking about when you have these people who are spouting these really nasty things, like, where's this coming? Like, what is wrong? So I agree with you. I think the majority of the Jews, majority of the non-Jews, don't hate Jews. And what's going on there? A bunch of uninformed people. Now, all of this is stam gehakt. But when you look in this week's parsha, we find some powerful stuff about people doing things, and the question is, what is their intention? Very powerful in the beginning of the parsha and also towards the end of the parsha. Well, not the end, but the middle of the parsha. So the first thing you have is in Pinchas. You didn't come on last night to the Torah talks. I said I'm going to give it a. Oh, somebody else didn't come on. I said, don't worry, just listen to the Pos-cast. My good friend Ben. Anyway, so the beginning of the parsha, Pinchas, right? Pinchas kills the head of the tribe of Shimon and the Midianite woman that he's having a relationship with her, right? And he's doing this because Bilam gives the advice to Balak: if you want to get the Jews, if you want to get to the Jews, forget about trying to curse them, get them to sin. Okay, get them to sin. It gives the whole scheme about having the Midianite women seduce the Jewish men, and they get them to bow to idols as well. Okay, so that scheme works for them wonderfully. For us, not so good, right? Because Jews, there was a plague and all that. It wasn't good for the Jews. So then Pinchas sees what's going on, and he says to Moshe Rabbeinu, like, if a man is doing a blatantly public desecration of God's name in such a way, you're allowed to just go and kill him, without any ruling of a bez or anything like that. So Moshe says, okay, you saw it, go do it. So Pinchas does it. So the question is, why did Pinchas do it, not Moshe? So in a practical level, Moshe couldn't do anything because he was screaming at Moshe. He challenged Moshe. Here's a Midianite woman. Is it permissible for me or not permissible? If it's permissible, then why is there a play going on? If it's not permissible, why did you marry Tzipporah, the daughter of Yisrael, who was the Kohen Midian, who was like the priest of Midian? So therefore Moshe couldn't say, oh, we have to. I'm going to strike that person or do something to him, because it's like when a judge can't judge a case that they have a personal interest in it. And here Moshe had a personal interest. That's halacha. If you have a personal interest, you can't judge somebody for it. Okay, fine. But then the bigger story is that Pinchas wasn't a kohen, because he was born after Hashem had anointed Aaron and his sons. So now Pinchas is not a kohen because he was born already, but he wasn't anointed with them because he was too young. So then Hashem says, I'm going to give you the gift of kahuna. Okay. So Pinchas goes and kills them. So our parsha starts that Hashem said to Moshe that Pinchas ben Elazar ben Aaron are kohen, and Rashi says, like, why are we telling them? In last week's parsha it already says in the last 10 psukim, it's contained there. Pinchas ben Elazar ben Aaron are kohen. We know who he is. Why do you have to repeat it again? So it says because the tribes are mocking him and saying, you're the son of the mother, your mother's father fattened calves to sacrifice them to idol worship, and you went and you killed the head of a tribe of the Jews. Okay, that was. So therefore, the Torah comes along and says, no, this is Pinchas, the son of Elazar, the son of Aaron HaKohen, which is a man of kindness and love. Okay, so the question is, like, well, there's a whole talk of the Rebbe about this, and the bottom line that he says is, like, the Rebbe explains Like, why were the tribes upset at him? It's like killed the messenger. Pinchas killed Zimri and the Midianite woman because that's the halacha. Yeah, if you see them doing it in public, you just go and you strike them. So was it right or was it wrong? What are they making this thing? Oh, because his grandfather was fattening calves for idols, and he goes, so he's a big nobody. Who is he to go kill this prince of Israel? Well, if it was the wrong thing, it doesn't matter who he is. If it's the right thing, again, it doesn't matter. Why does it matter who he is? What matters is was the act a proper act, not a proper act. And so therefore, what the Rebbe explains is that they weren't questioning the act, they were questioning the intention, they were questioning the motivation. Why, of all the people standing in front of Moshe Rabbeinu, you're the one to open in your mouth, you're the one to go ahead and do this. And so it looks like they're standing up for the honor of Moshe. Oh, if Moshe stand here, who are you to go and strike them, right? So that's why they're belittling him. Look who you are. Your grandfather is a cruel person, right? You fatten an animal to go and slaughter it to an idol. Like, it's not just you go and slaughter things to an idol. What do? You have this whole scheme. I'm going to take an animal. I'm going to give it food, which is giving food is like an act of kindness. And what are you going to do afterwards? Once it's nice and fat, slaughter it to an idol. Like, ugh, that's horrible. So who are you to do that? Okay, fine. So then comes along and says, no, that Pinchas was the son of Elazar, who was the son of Aaron. Aaron was a lover of peace and pursued peace. And so therefore, we could say that the influence that came to him from the father from Aaron came to Elazar, came down to Pinchas, not through his mother, which normally the influence would be stronger through the mother, the father to the mother to the son. No, this is and he's going to challenge Moshe, right? He's going to challenge Moshe and save his tribe. Are you good? Are we good?
I don't know how much of what you just said got recorded. Because I lost your audio and thought it was on my end, but then I looked in the system and it wasn't registering an input from you. So I think the last 2 minutes of you speaking just didn't happen.
Oh, so okay. You know what? Because there was an incoming call and I just ignoring it.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
I remember. I feel like right before you cut out, you were talking about Pinchas being the lineage of Aaron.
Right. So Pinchas was lineage of Aaron, which means that Aaron is a man of kindness and goodness and giving. So not to say that he's from the lineage of the father of his mother, because normally it goes from father to daughter, daughter to son. So you'd say, so Yisrael would influence his daughter, and his daughter would influence Elazar. But no, it wasn't like that. So the Torah is telling us his actions in this case was a result directly from his father's father. So it's an act of kindness, not an act of cruelty. And so now the question is, the point further is that the head of the tribe of Shimon is motivated by kindness, by caring. He's the head of the tribe. The head of the tribe means that he cares for the people. And you, Pinchas, are coming from a background of cruelty. And that's why you killed, and that's how terrible it was. Not just you killed somebody, you killed them. Like, if somebody kills somebody, God forbid, right? And they say, oh, the person that killed it, the person that was killed was such a nice person, such a good person. And you're always like, if somebody, God forbid, one person takes the life of another person, and the life of the person he took is he was they both were like nasty people. We don't feel so bad about it. But if you have somebody taking the life of a good person, oh man, could you believe this guy was such a good person? He was a good father, a wonderful husband, a tremendous support in the community, and his life was taken. That makes you feel even worse. And so if a bad person takes the life of a good person, it sounds worse. And that's what the tribes were saying, that not only did Pinchas stand up in front of Moshe and act when he shouldn't, and therefore his motivation was because he's a cruel person, but he did it to a good person. So now we look at the intention. And the Torah comes along and says the intention was exactly the opposite. The intention of Pinchas was a proper intention. the intention of the head of the tribe of Shimon was, he saw his tribe was dying from doing this sin. What does he do about it? He commits the sin in public to show like, hey, I'm gonna show you that it's okay, it's permissible. Instead of going and telling his tribe, hey guys, you're doing the wrong thing, he goes and he sins in the worst way possible. And what does Pinchas do? He's not a cruel person at all. He actually saved the rest of the Jews from the plague. It was the best thing they could have done for them. So the roles could get completely flipped. So what's the point? The point is, when you look at somebody's intention, you say, oh, what is their intention? Forget about their intention. What's actually happening? Is it something good? Is it something positive? Or is it something negative? And on a personal level, a person say like, oh, I don't know if I should give tzedakah. I don't know if I should learn Torah because my intention is not the right thing. Cut it out. We need to get things done. We need to have good things happening and put deal with your personal intention, your personal motivation. That's your private business. The effect that you could have on other people and have effect in the world and your community, that's what's really important. That should be what's pushing you and what's motivating you. And the same thing can go the opposite. Sometimes you look at somebody and say, oh, he's doing a bad thing, but his intentions are good. Like, really? Is that really what's happening over here? Is that how you're going to judge it? When somebody's doing something really terrible, now you can go talk, you don't have to judge them but if you have to stop, if it's happening in public, you have to stop and say, no, this is not a good thing. And we found this a lot in the early years of the Rebbe talked about this a lot. The idea of I use the example, like there was a lot of schools for kids, like Sunday schools or whatever they called them, that weren't teaching they weren't teaching them real Yiddishkeit. They were teaching them, not real Yiddishkeit. Leave it at that. And they were saying, look, it's like there's so much ignorance out there. It's like there's a fire. So when you have to put out a fire, you don't have to have clean water, anything. So the Rebbe said, you don't have to have clean. You're right. Dirty water will put out a fire, but you can't take any liquid and try to put out a fire. You're trying to put out a fire, you're pouring kerosene on the fire, pouring gasoline on the fire. That's not going to work. So he said that your comparison of saying maybe the Torah we're teaching is not the cleanest way it could be. The Rebbe said, no, it's not. Unclean Torah is not dirty water. It's kerosene. It's consuming. It's destructive. And that was the point. So when you're talking about somebody doing something not be exactly perfect, okay, you can let it go by. But if somebody's doing something that's destructive, that's not like, oh, well, at least this. Not at least this. This is the worst thing possible. When you corrupt Torah, it's like instead of giving somebody medicine to drink, you give them poison to drink. So, well, at least they're drinking something. No, not at least they're drinking something. Now we go further in the parsha. We found another group of upstart people. Who are they? The daughters of Tzolafchad. And they come after Moshe tells the Jews how they're going to divide land of Eretz Yisrael. They approach Moshe and they say to Moshe, our father died and he has no sons. Nobody's going to inherit lands from his lineage that's going into Eretz Yisrael. Oh, what's going to happen? So Moshe says, let me find out. And he goes and Hashem says, yes, the daughters are correct. That if there's no sons to inherit, the daughters inherit. Whoa. So you talk about women standing up for their rights. Here you have 5 women. And imagine, in those times, the women were so second class, yada, 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 because they're such a primitive people. No. These 5 sisters came walking straight to Moshe and said to Moshe, listen, we want to know what's going to happen. Our father died. He wasn't a rebel. He didn't rebel against Hashem in any rebellions. Why should his lineage not have representation and division of the Eretz Yisrael? And Moshe says, you're right. The Rebbe talks about this and says, in the beginning of Bereshis, it says that you should go out and when Adam and Chava create, go out and conquer the world and rule over it. And it talks about it in the male way. So it says that the male is the one that conquers, not the female. In a fascinating talk the Rebbe gives, he says, so what happened over here? There was no male, so the female had to do the quote-unquote conquering. We're talking about conquering the world and elevating it to a matter of holiness. So the Rebbe was saying, there comes a point when you look around and say, there's nobody else to do it. Do it, and that means you have to do it. That means you have to do it. And that was Rebbe's message to everybody. Listen, there's nobody else. Don't think there's somebody else. I just got a message on my phone from Irina G., who lives in Manhattan, alumni. very close to the Chabad house, with her fiance. They're flying in a plane, and there's a guy putting on tefillin with him. She said, "Oh, tefillin wrapping in the air." She was so excited. She was so excited. I said, "Where are you flying from?" Because comes from Sweden. They went from Sweden to Amsterdam, and like these 10 yeshiva bachrim are on the flight. They're going to the Crown Heights to learn in yeshiva. Like, I don't know what's going. I know exactly what their story is, but like she was so excited. I said, "Oh, you're only flying a flight where there's 10 guys, where there's a minion of bachrim." But that was like, so here's the guy sitting there, and he goes over to this guy, puts on film with him, or this other guy rang the doorbell, and that 2 hours ago. His name is Sholem Reichik from Gaithersburg, Maryland. And I was actually on a call with somebody learning. I took my phone downstairs. I said, I told the guy, you can hang out with me. I don't know why. I don't know why he's here in Boston. I don't really care. It wasn't my business, but he was there. And he said, "Yeah, I went to this Chabad house, and I went to the wrong place, and I got here." He said, "But I put on film with the taxi cab driver." I said, "Oh, that's why you're in Boston." So then it didn't matter to me what his official reason for coming is. Who cares why you came? I mean, if you needed, I gave him coffee. What do and he said, "Yeah, you're right, of course." Now, all the other reasons he came is wonderful and great and fine, but when you need to know that here's an opportunity to do a mitzvah, and that's the point. The doors of Slachim stood up, and they were respectful. They asked a question. They didn't make a demand. Hashem listened to them, and they got the land in Israel. Pinchas didn't act. It was a violent act, but it was necessary. It was the right thing to do. He got rewarded as well. That's what each one of us has to do. And I just want to conclude by saying that this Shabbos is my father's yard site, his first yard site, Yehuda Leib ben Shalom, and everybody can do a mitzvah in his honor because that's what he was. To me, that was one of the most important things that he taught me by example. You have an opportunity to do mitzvah, you do mitzvahs. In fact, in his later years when he was living in Crown Heights, he used to do hashgacha. He would like be the kashrus inspector at a couple of old age homes and they just needed somebody to go there. So in the beginning he would drive there himself. Then we got older, one of my brothers would drive him there, and it was a pretty standard thing because the kitchen was running. He'd have to go there just to check, make sure everything was right. It was more of like a technicality because it was Jewish people working there, whatever. Where did he go? He took his tefillin with him and he put on tefillin with people there. And then he was a teacher all his life. And we get every once in a while get a message like, "Oh, the Rabbi Posner I was a student 50 years ago, or my mother's was a student of his, whatever." Having an actual impact on the world, that's what was the most important thing to him. And that's the lesson we need to take. That's what we need to do. Have an opportunity to do a mitzvah. Let's tip the scales. Let's bring Mashiach now. The 17th of Tammuz, the number 17 is equivalent to the number Tov, which means good. Let it be not a fast day, but a very good day. Mashiach now. Sei gesund.
Amen. With that, thank you so much for listening to episode 167 of the Pos-cast. Rabbi Shmuel Posner. We will see you next week.